welcome to what I call the Crestone, Colorado Night Gallery. This is day one. My name is Charlotte, and I got a story to tell. Up until last year, I didn't even know where Crestone, Colorado was. And I know that you who are probably watching this probably doesn't even know where it is either. Offhand, this place does look like your atypical small town. But it hides a vast world of the unknown, everyone. And that is what I'm here to find out. There's so many stories here. It's just unbelievable. There's an unconventional hotbed of up-close and personal stories of Sasquatches, UFOs, aliens, numerous unknown creatures of myth and legend. Creatures like the chupacabra, per se. Nonetheless, I am doing this because I wish to get what you would call up close and personal, everyone. And what I assure you is that I am not going to be getting any photos that have been photoshopped, doctored in any way, because what I am looking for here is the real deal. None of this YouTube junk, none of this Photoshop junk, none of this computer generated stuff, none of that. I'm looking for the real deal, guys. I am outside here to demonstrate as to what I am working with here. And how there's so many places that so many creatures can hide. It's all really cool in a way. A pristine environment. And getting up close with creatures of the unknown. It's exciting. Oh, it's really cool. Here we have one of the native animals of Crestone, Colorado, a cute little deer. Oh my god, its ears are so big. Alright, well that's all I gotta say.
There's a whole bunch more on the left side.
Oh my god, look at those ears, they're humongous.
What is this? So we pull out the car, we park the car, and we come out and we're staring at this thing, and then boom, another one appears. And then 2 seconds later, a fourth one. It was like this, like that. So strange. Looking at him, my God, what is this? It's just appearing out of nowhere. And as we were looking at it, it vanished.
Just was sitting on it.
Awesome thing. I couldn't even explain what it was.
Smile, Fuzz, you're in candid camera.
Alright, have you been taping this?
Yes.
Okay. You got your story.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am showing you a cell phone picture of
This is our country,
an up-close and personal UFO photo. I'll turn the picture to be coming up in just a minute. I am zeroing in on this one UFO photo. As you can see, it hasn't been Photoshop doctored in any way. As you can see, there's an outline of a UFO ship looking very cigar-shaped and flying through the sky. One can only guess the meaning of this ship as to if it is a scout ship or a random ship that just got lost.
I have lived here over 3 years now. Oh my gosh, it's been one major adventure. When we first moved here, and we were working on the house, which we're still doing, one night I was awake, and everyone else was asleep, and in the backyard there was this little bright white light that appeared in front of the tree, and it made a really loud, kind of like a clanging noise, like a metallic noise.
Really?
And like a boom. And then I laid back down, and all of a sudden I felt something touching my face, and I was a little startled, so I turned and looked, and there were two golden orbs, like right beside me. And I just kind of looked at them, and I was, whoa, a little startled. And they went away, and all of a sudden, this kind of sounds crazy, this part.
Do tell.
There were 2 females that were as tall as the ceiling, and they had short blonde hair, and they were dressed like kind of like warriors. And
Wow.
they were standing on my side of the bed, and they leaned over and looked at me, and they got up and walked through and went out the front door.
Wow.
So that was just one of the things that's happened to me since I've been here. I haven't taken any pictures, but I was a little startled that, you know, you're like wondering if you're awake or you're dreaming, but I was wide awake when it happened.
About 2 weeks ago, my grandson and I were driving towards downtown Crestone, and out near Spanish Creek, something crossed the road. There was a head on the road. I pointed it out to Patrick. It couldn't be a lion because it's black, and mountain lions here aren't black. Well, it was on the right side of the road to start with, and then we spotted it about in the middle of the road. And then from there, it kind of crossed the rest of the road, but it wasn't on 4 feet. It was sort of like semi 2 feet, like a very primitive type thing. And then I knew it was something like, you know, I didn't quite ever, I've never heard of before. Patrick, he stopped the truck and jumped out and went across to, I don't know if he was going to chase it or just check it out or whatever, but it traveled about 20 feet, and Patrick was right behind it, and then it stopped and stood up on 2 feet. And then it went to a tree, which is a big cottonwood, I found out later. And,
Wow.
Climbed vertically all the way to the top. But it climbed like fist over fist. It went up to the very top of the, as far as it could go, I believe, on the tree. And that was it. It just sat there and looked at us like, okay, who's going to win this? I'll be here no longer than you guys. So, and he was right, because it got dark, and we had to leave.
It looked like like an ape-like creature. It had a tail, long tail.
Okay.
It had spikes on its back. It was very strange.
Yeah, see, that's, I know, I can't believe I'm even doing this on camera. I didn't even look at it, and I'm totally nuts. But it's true. It's for real. It's like, it was really a weird deal. So,
Well, that's what me and millions of viewers will be dying to know.
yep. And I could be a guide. I could take him to the tree, the Sasquatch tree, I call him. Anyway, I was lining some points up, and at the same time, I just happened to look up. It was just a flash. I wasn't like particularly looking anywhere, but I was looking in the sky, and I saw a thing come across. It looked like a comet, actually, but it wasn't a comet, but it had a tail behind it.
So what do you think it was?
I have no idea. And the thing is, it crossed the valley, which is, I believe, at least 60 miles wide, and no more than a second, because my eyes saw the whole thing. It's gone.
Yeah.
And I watched jets fly over, and I try to gauge what it takes them, once you see them get over the other side of the valley. This thing had to be going maybe 500 times faster, 1,000 times. I mean, it was like, and the only thing was my eye just happened to catch it. But then what happened afterwards, or immediately afterwards, the compass started getting weirded out. It kept, it just started going different directions and it wasn't working right, but it was just like something was wrong with it. Then one of the kids working on the job, I was working with him on putting a plate on the side of the forms, and I told him, I said, use a level to level it. I said, theoretically, it doesn't matter if they're this way, they still work. I want it to look right. So he got a level, and he said, well, Granddad, what's going on here? It's not leveling. I said, oh, bullshit, it has to level because it's a level. And I went over and I looked at it, and then it wasn't a level like this. The bubble would be in the middle. To get the bubble in the middle, we had to turn it to 45 degrees.
God.
And I thought, at first I thought the level must be broke. It's not broke. Same thing. About an hour later, it's working perfectly. So whatever I do believe that the thing I saw, like that, has something to do with interference with our energy fields. And that was pretty wild. And I know what I saw, I believe that. I've never seen a UFO in my whole life, except since I've been here. One I saw, the first I ever saw that I know was what could be, you know, defined as a UFO as I was driving from Salida over Poncha Pass, coming into the straight highway, outside of Moscow. And I was in there with Hillary and Patrick, actually. I was in the back seat, and I was looking out to the west, and I saw a really bright light in the sky. And it wasn't moving like a plane or anything. And then it just got brighter and brighter and brighter, and then it went shoo. And I thought, holy shit, I don't believe that. So I told the kids, I said, I think I saw some really weird stuff out the window there. I don't know what it is. And Hillary looked, and I looked again, and it came back. Then I knew it was good, because now I've got two people, it's not just me. And I don't know if Patrick saw it or not, he may have. I think that occurred 3 times, and so I know that's something that wasn't anything I could explain. And then this thing I was just telling you about across the valley, that was the second thing. And then the Sasquatch was the third. So,
well, it's beautiful. First of all, there are mountains everywhere, a beautiful valley, lots of trees. Very spiritual people, very kind people here. Some nutty people too. I saw, the first thing that I saw here was we were driving down Camino Baca Grande.
Where's that?
It's one of the major streets here.
Okay, cool.
And we were with Joe and Hillary, and I think Patrick was with us too, I think.
yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure on that one.
We were, and we were looking at the sky, and you know, I think Joe or Patrick were driving, and the sky was very clear. It was at night, and it was full of stars. I mean, like just totally covered with stars. And I was just in awe, looking at all the stars and all that. And suddenly, I saw this, round ball of light appear in the sky.
What did it look like?
It looked like a big ball of light, like this.
Like a cigar shape?
No, it was round.
Oval?
No, round. It was round. Okay, well, there was a round shaped light in the sky, and I just looked at it and said, oh my God, what is that? It was like about maybe 40, 50 feet away from me in the sky. And I told Hillary, I said, Hillary, take a look, look at that. And as we were looking at it, another one appeared right behind it, about maybe 12 or 15 feet away from it. Same exact thing, but now there were 2 of them. And then I said, oh my God, look at that other one. There's now, we're seeing now 2 of them, and they're not really moving. They seemed like they were stationary. Or if they were moving, it was very, very slow. And then I said, let's pull over and take a look. So we pulled over and got out of the car. And as we were looking at them, another one appeared. Like there was one here, one there, and one here. And then 2 seconds later, there was one behind it.
So what was it doing?
They were not doing anything. It was just like round, luminous objects in the sky. And we were just going, what is this? Well, it was like this. I don't know. It was a Z shape, kind of a stretched out Z. Just as we were all looking at that and wondering what it was, they just disappeared like that. Totally.
Is there any sound or anything?
No.
No sound. It's just.
There was no sound of anything. There was no time to take a picture of it.
Okay.
And then one time we were going home, and we were taking the Baca Grande way. It's very rocky and what is it? Dirt road.
It's a dirt road.
It's very rocky.
Yeah.
We were going down. I was driving, and we were going down. It was dark. It was at night, and I saw 2 objects, like disc-shaped objects, going at an angle like that. Zoom right in front of me, and I have no idea where they went because there was the ground, and there were like 2 of them. Zoom, and then another one like a couple of seconds later, zoom in the same exact direction, same angle, appeared to be going down into the ground. It was really strange.
Okay, well, my job was a flight attendant and I've been working for 42 years, so this was a really unusual experience that has never really happened to any of our flight crews. Our pilots, we were going into Fort Lauderdale one night and it was like 1 a.m. in the morning, so it was really late. And the pilots independently called each of us up and they said, do you see what we see? It's like, yeah, what is it? And it was like just, it had a bottom and then it had a top and it was kind of lit from within, which was really unusual. Well, our pilots were totally mystified and they were calling air traffic control saying, is there another airplane in the area? And air traffic control didn't see it. Well, our pilots saw it. We saw it. We knew it was there. And air traffic control said, no, there's no other airplane. So we're all going, oh my gosh, is it a flying saucer? I mean, because we tend to be really conservative people. It's like, it had to be a flying saucer because there was nothing else there.
So it was kind of like just stationary first and then just bolted off somewhere.
Right, and it, you know, what was weird is that for some reason, we were the only ones who saw it, that air traffic control said there were no other airplanes. So I don't know how to explain that, which was strange too. But so that was really unusual. I mean, you know, we tend to be very conservative about things, so nobody exaggerated this incident, and we didn't do a safety report even. But so that was the only conclusion we could come to, and we were kind of awed even that night and the next day, like, what was that? So anyway, that was my experience.
So it was like five stewardesses and 2 pilots.
Pilots.
Okay.
And our pilots are very conservative. I mean, they wouldn't call us up, and it was especially after 9/11 when we don't go up as much.
Yeah.
But like they were totally mystified. They didn't know what to do.
Well, like, what do you mean conservative?
Well, we tend to be very narrow-minded as far as alternatives. You know, we're very conservative in our lifestyle type things.
Okay.
You know, we're checked by the company, and yeah, so. But it was a really bizarre, interesting experience because for 2 days we kept saying, "What was that?" And we never really mentioned it to anybody else because it's like they would think that we were imagining things, but it was definitely something there.
Well, in your perceptions, do you think what you saw was a UFO?
Well, I don't know what else it could have been. None of us knew what else it could have been, and we're not the radical type that would, you know, believe in this easily. We were just totally mystified. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. But that was my experience, and at 42 years, you have to take into account we've never seen anything like that.
Fair enough.
Maybe because it was so late. And we weren't going to a large city, that it was there.
Yeah.
And it was South Florida, so I don't know if they like the beach, but anyway.
So, I mean, would you classify yourself as like an open-minded person or like religious to some extent?
Well, as flight crews were very traditional and maybe even a little bit narrow-minded.
Yeah.
So
this like incident actually like challenged your perceptions.
Right. And we don't tend to rush to, we're conservative in our thoughts, so we don't tend to rush to conclusions like, oh my gosh, a flying saucer, we kept saying, what do you think that was? So, yeah. So it kind of made a believer out of some of us on the trip.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it gave us a real kind of spooky feeling. Like,
how?
Well, we all just kept saying, what was that? Because we didn't really want to believe that. Because it kind of went against our middle America conservative thinking.
Oh yeah, I totally got it.
But we finally did come to that conclusion because there was no other explanation for it.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was a really interesting, bizarre experience. And that's the one and only time I've ever had that happen in my whole life.
All right, very cool.
Yeah, well, just one other thought, because it was such a strange thing. The main part of it was like really bright, and it was lit from within.
I'm gonna go outside.
And within it was very bright, and
Wow.
it kind of radiated out. So that was very strange to us, because that's not typical of an airplane. Because an airplane would have the lights down late at night, it wouldn't be lit up like that. But this was lit up very bright, and it was from within, not like on the wings.
What do you mean, like, you know, within?
I don't know. We couldn't describe it because we all kept saying that was really strange. It was so bright from within.
I think you're playing now.
You know,
I'll give her that.
so it was just really unusual. You know, at night we always turn the lights on.
Yeah.
So if another airplane
Yeah.
would have been bright or lit with it at all.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, so that's another thing that kind of thought, this must be a really unusual occurrence here for us.
All right, very cool.
Very cool. Anyway, the whole thing was very interesting. I just wanted to relate that.
It's up there between the two mountains up there by up there called Willow Lake that people hike up to, and that is supposedly a UFO entrance where UFOs crafts have been seen in that area up there. And it's, this whole area is supposedly a vortex. Well, I've lived here almost 23 years, and I've heard lots of stuff. And one time, toward the end over there of the Baca, facing over toward the sand dunes, there were a lot of lights that people saw. I didn't see it, but one time coming on Highway 17 that ties into over here by Moffett and then Road T to Crestone, I saw green unusual lights.
Oh.
And I didn't know what they were. Well, they might have been UFOs, craft. It might have been something government also. There have been a lot of cattle mutilations and that kind of thing here. I was in Albuquerque when the Snippy horse was found over by King's Ranch, which is just right across from the mountains over here by Uraka Cemetery, which is south of here.
Wow.
He was, it looked like he had been cut with a laser, but I had a girlfriend who went personally and saw this. And then it was laughed off as just a horse dying or something. But I was in Albuquerque at the time. And the horsey Snippy bones have still been preserved. It's been on television, some program, but anyway, all kinds of unusual things. And
Okay.
and one time I had a dream that was very realistic, that it seemed like I was on a spaceship, and it looked like rays. And,
Really?
And I was in with some small children, and I was saying, behave, behave. I'm a retired public school teacher, okay? But it was so realistic that it has stayed with me all these years. And so I might have been abducted, I don't know.
Somebody told me something really interesting. As you can see by these mountains right here, I have been told that there is an alien vortex. Are they truly interdimensional beings? I don't know. Nobody really knows for sure. Also, I forgot to mention, there have also been stories of alien abduction in Crestone, Colorado. A recent interviewee just informed me of that fact, that she has heard stories of people being removed from their house.
I was with a friend hunting down by Dead Man Creek, south of here, which borders the north end of the national park.
Okay.
And he was in the tent sleeping already, and I was out just stargazing, and what I saw was a very, very, very bright light coming about from overhead north.
Okay.
Southward, moving very, very quickly, and no blinking, not the typical strobing. And then it got, well, it's hard to gauge how far away it was, but then it just took a sudden veer to the left and disappeared, wiped out.
Wow.
It's probably the most vivid experience I've had here in Crestone of anything sort of in the unexplained and phenomenological arena.
It's intense. So when stuff is good, it's intensely good, and when stuff is not so good, it's intensely not so good. Well, I had a ghost at my house once. I'm not a seer, but a feeler, so I would feel it come onto me at night. It would walk on the bed and lay up against me. I could feel the pressure on my legs. And
What do you think they wanted?
Well, I found out actually. I didn't mind it in the beginning. I didn't mind it until my boyfriend came to sleep with me.
Uh-huh.
And he woke up in the middle of the night with a feeling something was trying to enter him.
Oh, wow.
And then I knew it was time to move it along. So I had someone come up to help me move it into the light. And we found out in the session that it came because my neighbor is a spiritual teacher.
Uh-huh.
Spiritual teachers are often attracted.
Oh.
They attract dark beings that are looking for the light. So he was sort of affiliated with that teacher.
Oh.
So after we did clearing, I never felt him again.
Well, a few years ago, I was up about 2 in the morning, and I looked out the windows. The back of our house faced the Sangre de Cristos, and as I looked out at the mountains, there were 2 bright green lights that came down over Willow Lake.
Oh. So what do you think they were?
Well, I would guess it was probably a spaceship. It didn't look like a helicopter that I know of, so I would guess it was a foreign object of some kind. Summer night, you could see the mountains in sharp distinction, so that was it.
Yeah, it's when we moved to Crestone, we really felt the vortex.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Whatever you put out there verbally or whatever you think, the vortex is so strong that it's reality. When we moved to Crestone a year and a half ago, we came with $200 in our pocket, and we looked around and said, well, let's open a restaurant, and we opened a restaurant. And then we said, okay, let's open another restaurant. We opened another restaurant. 3-4 months after that, it's like, okay, let's look for a house. And we found a house and closed on a house within a week. It's so powerful because you got to be really careful on if it's negative. You're going to get the negativity. But if you stay positive and whatever you put out there, it's reality. It just comes to life. You can actually feel the shifts and the moods and the changes. Yeah, it's incredible. It really is.
I used to live on a log cabin on North Chaparral, pretty high up in the mountains, that had a deck that overlooked the whole west of the whole valley. And the deck was right outside of my bedroom, and a lot of times after my daughter had gone to bed, I would go out onto the balcony and just look around at the stars with my glasses on. And I started noticing off to the left, just in this particular area, it was very defined, right above the tree levels, not very high up. There would appear, shortly after the sun went down, lights. Sometimes it was 1 light, sometimes it was 2, sometimes it was 3. And one would appear, and it moved in this irregular pattern. It didn't really go anywhere, it didn't have a destination, it was just sort of wobbling around in this defined area in the sky. And then that would go out just while it's in midair, and then another one would appear. Sometimes there would be 2 of them moving around the same area. And to me, to my intuition, it seemed like it was working off of the Earth's electromagnetic field, because it seemed like they were figuring it out, whoever was behind the lights. They were figuring out how the lights worked or how to work them, or it it didn't seem like there was any purpose behind it other than just to play with it. I'm not really sure. That's the thing about those things. They're random lights, and definitely wasn't a traditional airplane. I did try to communicate with them, you know, where I was like, show yourselves, or, you know, try to interact with it, and then they would go out. And then the minute I went more towards not looking in that direction and not thinking about it, it would appear again. And sometimes they would cross over each other. There was one night where one went way, way outside of their normal range, and it turned into an airplane.
Into an airplane?
Yeah, one of the wiggly lights, you know, was doing its thing. Then it started going on a diagonal course, and then it turned into a blinking red light like you see on airplanes at night. So I still don't really know what it was. There's an even stranger turn of events that happened after that that I rarely tell, because most people think that you're crazy when you talk about that stuff. But
well, that's just what I'm just trying to dispel.
Yeah,
here.
I can tell you the funky parts is I would be watching these lights and trying to interact with them, and then they would go out. But out in the valley on the flatlands, it seemed like a vehicle of some kind, maybe a van or a truck or something, that had a spotlight that was very, very, very bright. Oh. And it would spotlight me while I was looking at these other lights. And it was so bright that when I looked out on the valley, all I could see was the rays coming off of this big light on some kind of a vehicle. And when I looked behind me, I had a dark shadow on the wall with all my lights turned off in my bedroom. So they were definitely spotlighting me. So then I started to concentrate on the light from the vehicle, and I was like, go out, because it was very invasive.
Really?
You know, I mean, I had this spotlight on me, and so I said, go out, you know, and tried to put that energy out, and nothing would happen. But if I focused on the air above the light and did that, it would go out. So then there was this one night where they kept on spotlighting me off and on while I was looking at these other lights. I'd tell those lights to go off, and they would. But then there was one night where I heard an engine of a large vehicle, and I saw a bright, very bright light, but it never actually arrived at my house. It was just in my vicinity. Like, it went behind my house, it went on the sides, but it was not in the valley. It was in my neighborhood. And I just had this feeling like it was those spotlight vans. But at this moment, I didn't know what was going to happen. You know, your imagination gets carried away, and you'd be like, are they after me? Are they going to do something? But it never arrived at my house. But I did have this really crazy moment where in my head, it was like, they're going to shoot me, and if they don't shoot me, they're going to shoot a bear. Oh. And I had this image in my head of this bear getting shot and lying there dying, and it was almost like I was lying there dying, and I didn't think any, you know, it was just a quick flash of that moment, and then I went to bed, and the next morning I got woken up by my friend Jade crying, saying that a mother bear had been shot in the yard of my daughter's preschool, and the cubs were still alive.
Wow.
And then I was talking, I usually don't talk about this stuff, but I did talk to somebody about it, and they said, oh yeah, those are called ghost vans. And what they said is they're not actually they're real, but they're not real, and that they hover around you, but the times when they've been seen, there's usually an animal killed that night. And so I just thought that was pretty odd. But yeah, from then on, for months, I just watched these 1 to 3 lights move around in the same area. So that's that story. And then I moved, so I haven't really been looking for them that much. And then one time when I lived on South Hemlock, during the day, it was just a quick moment, and it was, again, very close, like right above the tree lines, in front of the mountains. It was like a triangular, dark, it looked like a shadow. But it was definitely a triangle, and it was definitely really big.
What do you think it was?
I do not know. That's the thing. That's why they call them UFOs. They're unidentified flying objects. Nobody really knows. I mean, unless some being comes out and actually talks to you, you're you're never going to really know what they are.
Yeah.
But it appeared right above the trees, and it was very quick. It just went psh. And it didn't look like it looked like a gray triangle. It looked like a shadow. It didn't look like a physical, thing. It was very flat looking, but whatever it wasn't a kite, it wasn't a bird.
Yeah.
It was just this dark gray triangle, and it just went right above the trees and then down, and I didn't see where it landed or where it went, but it was very close. And that was in the middle of the day. And then one night, the only other time I can think of is one night I was in my father's driveway looking up at the mountains over here towards the Challenger, and I saw a white shining light that was close, and it was similar to those other 3 lights where it's an irregular movement, like it's fluid.
Okay.
And kind of snake-like, and it just came down. It was very close. It wasn't high up, and it just kind of floated and stopped at certain moments where it would seem like a trick of your imagination, like maybe it's a star or a planet, but then it would definitely start to move again, and it would float further and further closer to me, and then finally it just stopped and then it went out.
Oh.
So I've actually, all over the U.S. and multiple states, I've seen the ones that appear, and they look like stars, but they move, and then they go out, and then they'll relight in some slightly other, in a slightly other direction from where they've gone out. They'll appear, several yards away or whatever.
So I have a question. Are you telepathic in any way?
I'm
Or like clairvoyant?
I'm an intuitive for a living.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, I see spirit all the time, shadows, especially here in the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the corner, like I'll be sitting here working and I'll just see. I call it spirit.
What does that mean?
Yes, I'll just see spirit like walking into the sink area.
Well, does this place have a history?
It's from the 1800s.
Oh.
It was many different things. It was some say it was a brothel.
Really?
Yeah. A bar, a dance hall, many restaurants. It was a post office.
Wow.
There are certain people in town that will not come in this building.
Why?
Because they know the history. So I feel very comfortable and friendly. I mean, they're very friendly.
Okay.
I don't mind having them around. Yeah.
So, restaurant proprietor works in a haunted place that has a lot of history to it.
Yes.
That's very fabulous. So basically, you think your place is haunted?
I don't think it's haunted. I just know that there's spirit here, and that is just hanging out. Loves Jim's cooking.
Oh. Oh, very cool.
Loves our energy.
Very cool.
There's no darkness to the energy.
Oh.
It's light. It's there, back and forth. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Jola. This is day 6 of my night gallery in Crestone, and I have this lovely lady right here. She runs like this UFO outpost. So tell me, ma'am, what is your name?
Judy Messeline.
And do I have permission to film you for this documentary?
Yeah.
So tell me, Judy, you were telling me an interesting story earlier.
Yeah, we opened in 2000, and since we opened, we've had 67 sightings from just here. I've gotten to see 26 of them. Can't tell anybody a soul green man. I can just tell you it's bizarre stuff. Doesn't make sense.
What did they look like?
The closest one was between here and the mountains, part way down.
Yeah?
I called it cigar shaped. It was narrow and really long. moved from the north to the south pretty rapidly. It was 11 o'clock at night, and we had over a dozen people here that night, and everybody saw it. So at least you know you're not hallucinating, you know.
Wow. Well, thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
Hey everyone, I am back from the UFO Observatory. Just wanted to make some clarifications going on. Couldn't just focus my camera properly. There's just some weird energies going on. I may have to make another attempt to go back there yet another day. I don't know, I tried to get like the best I could. Hopefully I can clean it up and editing or something. It's an interesting place. Just a bit touristy though, I would surmise. But nonetheless, there was somebody there who just had an interesting story to tell about numerous UFO sightings. And I would actually take her story as like something very credible because she's the purveyor of this stand. Basically what you did not see was just basically a bunch of offerings for the aliens. And I know it's like the weather conditions are just super harsh. Here I am back at the entrance of Crestone, Colorado. My camera is fortunately functioning again. Just basically, I've also gotten some interesting stories about cattle mutilation as well. Haven't had any like tell me any stories as of such yet. I tend to find this is also like a farming community as well, and there are a lot of cows here, as well as yaks and horses. But I don't know, I may be able to find something. We'll see. A weird moon poses itself tonight, waning halfway. What will it hold tonight? Only time will tell. I set off on future excursions to find creatures of the unknown. Will I be fruitful? Possibly. Will I may find something? Most definitely. So what a view, right? Well, strange things happen on this horizon. Stories of UFOs taking off into the atmosphere. Night that never clears up. I don't know. That's what I come to see here for myself. I'm actually recording here from the house right now, and I've seen this strange stationary spot that has been on the same horizon for the last 3 days. I am going to be recording this spot if I see it again. I don't know what it is.
Well, it was early morning on Sunday, and me and some friends were at the Chocoré restaurant, which is half the way when you're coming from Moffat to Crestone. And we were having breakfast, and I was sitting looking to the Sangre de Cristo mountain range. I was looking at the mountains, and then I had another friend looking to the mountains too, and then my other friends were looking towards me. So all of a sudden I'm just, like contemplating the nice view I had, and then all of a sudden I saw a white, let's say a plane. I thought first it was a plane. It was white and going very steadily, across the sky. And then I kept looking at that and seeing what was going to happen. And then this thing appeared behind Kit Carson Mountain. And then I thought, okay, that's a plane. It just went straight and then passed the mountain.
Did it make any noises?
No, I mean, I was really far away.
Oh.
We're talking about hundreds of miles from where I was at the restaurant. Kit Carson, I mean, it's a 14er,
Oh, God.
So, yeah, that's a huge mountain. So, I kept looking at that, and all of a sudden this white plane just came back to the original place. and then it started like going from one place to the other, kind of like moving, you know, weirdly, not like a normal plane. And then it went all the way to the top of the Kit Carson Peak, and then from there, another white thing appeared, like this one white oval. It was kind of like an oval shape. From this white oval shape, there was another one coming, and they're starting like dancing together, like interweaving together. And I asked my friends if they saw that. I'm looking at these things, and I'm asking my friends, "Did you see that, guys?" And they turned and they didn't see anything, but my husband did. And we both, you know, were looking at that, and he was confirming. He was saying, "Yes, I can see that. They're dancing." And it looked like if, you know, when people paraglide, it looked like that, but there's no way people are going to be doing that on top of Kit Carson. But that's how it looked like. Just going up, you know, up and down, dancing on top of the mountain. And then all of a sudden, it lasted like probably maybe 2 minutes. And then after that, this plane from behind us appeared and went straight to the top of the mountain. And as the plane got closer and closer to the top of the mountain, then these two things disappeared.
First time I came here was about 9 months ago. And first thing I noticed, it had this very unusual energy, kind of almost like a vortex.
What do you mean?
You feel very welcome, you feel comforted, and there's very unusual things that go on here in the valley, though. I mean, here we have almost every religious center that you can imagine is based here. We have ziggurats out over here, we have stupas, we have ashrams, all sorts of things, you know, very diverse. And from what I know, the way that the planet works, that we lie on what is called the 38th parallel, which is like a prime location. We get plenty of sunlight, you know, and underneath this land is one of the largest aquifers on the planet, rest by the San Luis Valley. And it could have something to do with the sand dunes. I don't really know too much about that, but I have seen a few things in the sky. I've noticed, and I've had witnesses with me, you know.
What have you seen?
We've seen, you know, about 4 red lights. They kind of do. And they kind of kept skipping each other, and then they would zip far across the sky really fast and be all the way somewhere else. And it didn't make too much sense.
Okay, so you told me you actually had an encounter with a chupacabra. What's that?
Oh. So I was with my grandfather here in Crestone. And, we're cruising down, heading towards Spanish Creek. And out in the distance, I can see something crossing the road. So I get my granddad's attention, and he's like, you know, it looks like a mountain lion or a bear or something big. So we get closer as it's crossing the street, and I look at it, and it looks like nothing I've ever seen before in my entire life. So my natural reaction was I threw the truck in park and I hopped out. I chased it down the side of the road. And as I was behind it, I realized it was big and it was black and it had these thick spikes on its back. And I mean, I was like, you know, maybe a porcupine, something like that, but no, the spikes were far too thick. So I chased behind it for a moment, and I obviously got too close. It stood up on 2 legs, and I could see it. It turned back and looked at me, and its eyes were set very far apart, almost like a sloth. And it had kind of a pale gray face with sharp teeth. And it turned around, it looked at me, and it began to sprint. And the next thing I know, it starts climbing up this tree, almost like an ape, all the way to the top of the tree. A huge cottonwood down there off of Spanish Creek, and it's sitting up at the top, and it's wrapped around, sitting there. And it's looking down at me, and from that distance, I couldn't quite tell what it was, but even my grandfather, you know, 70 years old, he said he's never witnessed or seen anything like that in his entire life, and he's spent years and years down in this valley, so...
So what are you going to show me today?
Well, today, I'm going to take you on a trip down T Road, which interlinks to Highway 17.
Cool.
And Highway 17 is actually what they call the extraterrestrial highway. Alright, so right now we are cruising through the Baca Grande, and we are actually about to drive over the creek where I do believe that I saw possibly a chupacabra. So, here we go. This is Spanish Creek right up here on our left. And I will show you where the event occurred. Right here is where it crossed. Crossed over here to the left. I chased it down the ravine and it ran up this second cottonwood right back there, all the way up to the very top of the tree. I chased it down there. And it stood up about right there at the juniper. So this is where I've also heard lots of other people have had strange sightings down here. And the Bigfoot deal here in Crestone is a pretty big deal. I don't know if I necessarily believe for myself, but I did see something very strange over there. Supposedly people have said down over here at Spanish Creek that they've seen weird ape-like things.
Oh, ape-like things.
That's the word around town. No, I don't truly know, but up over here, one of these are the main peaks of Crestone.
Okay.
One of them is the Crestone Needles, and they're known for their rock climbing, which is pretty fun. We have North Crestone Canyon, which is back over here. Goes up to a few lakes.
Great.
Reservoirs. And out there in front of us, that is the San Luis Valley. High alpine desert. I think it's the highest elevated desert in North America. I believe so.
So what do you think is going on here in regards to like unknown phenomena and stuff?
I don't know if it has to do with the location or I don't know. We are next to New Mexico and we are next to Mount Dolce. And I've heard rumor that underneath Mount Blanca, which is just south down the Sangre de Cristos here, that supposedly there's an underground military base underneath Blanca.
Really?
Where we have interaction with the Greys and that they're living underground over there is what I've heard. So,
really?
I would like to further investigate Mount Dolce and Mount Blanca.
Well, what's up in like Mount Dolce?
Mount Dolce, supposedly there's, power running all the way into the mountain and then it just stops and goes into the mountain, and that there's hidden hatches all around it, and that supposedly Greys live underneath Mount Dolce.
Wow, like an unknown power source?
Mm-hmm. So I'm not quite sure. I would like to go investigate it. I think it'd be neat. I think that's about the extent of the things I've seen in the last 7 to 8 months. So.
Well, that's nice.
I have seen very bizarre weather out here. The weather patterns never seem quite right. It'll be a beautiful day, and then all of a sudden, just a couple weeks ago, there was a dust storm through here that was so bad that I could look at the sun, and it just looked like a round white orb in the sky. You could completely look at the sun without hurting your eyes. Everyone was just, look 3 shades darker due to all of the dark dust flying around in there.
Wow, where did you think it was coming from?
Super high winds that just seem, people here were saying they haven't seen winds like that in about 10 years.
Oh.
And one of our friends, Scott Stevens, who has actually been on, what is this show? Oh, it's at the tip of my tongue. Not Anderson Cooper. Alex Jones.
Oh.
Yeah. Scott Stevens is he's a meteorologist, and he lives here in Crestone, and he's been interviewed on the Alex Jones show and upcoming new show on Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah, so there definitely is the people that Crestone draws in, especially, there's a lot of, it's a very diverse place, very culturally diverse. You never know what each day holds. And coming up here on our right is a stupa. You see it up there?
Oh yeah, I see it.
And one of my favorite things about Crestone is that Crestone is almost lawless in a sense. We don't have a sheriff's department here or anything like that. Everyone kind of just does what they want.
Really?
Which is pretty nice because, the peace is usually kept here in Crestone. What's gone on to keep a sheriff's department or anything out of Crestone, which seems rather odd. So, I don't know. And I do know that Maurice Strong owns, I believe, the Dharma Ocean, which is a retreat here, and he owns I think a 2,000-acre plot of land out here. And I know that he works with I think the Rockefellers and Rothschilds. They say that the world will be ruled from the 38th parallel, from this location on the planet. I think that possibly our government and other governments are working with probably the Greys or whatever other extraterrestrial life has been visiting the Earth for, you know, who knows how long. And I do think that this mountain range up here would be an ideal location to do things like that. Yeah, Crestone is pretty funky. It would make sense all of the sightings would be somewhat related to Mount Blanca and Dulce, with, you know, interactions going on with extraterrestrials here in the San Luis Valley.
Okay, from what I've been told, this is the only road to in or out of Crestone. What do you think?
This is the only road into Crestone. This is T Road. And the only way to get here is from Highway 17. We live down a 12-mile dead-end road. It has something to do with an energy vortex here in the mountains.
What's that?
And what I've heard is that the elders of the town, that this road, if any apocalyptic event were to take place, that they have some kind of contraption that this road will be completely destroyed.
Really?
Yes. So nobody can come in or out of Crestone. Unless they are meant to be here and they find a way into Crestone, then so be it. But coming up soon, on our right-hand side, is, not here, a little bit further, is where they do the burial ceremonies, where if you're a resident of Crestone, you're up to you, but they bring your body out here, and everyone throws a celebration, and they burn your body, and everyone plays the drums and dances. And pretty cool. Pretty cool little setups. Yeah, right over here to the right. You see there's an old concrete building that was never finished. You go down that road about a half mile.
Okay.
And yeah, they got the little burial spot where you're cremated.
Do you think it has any cosmic significance?
I don't know. I think that there's definitely a, you know, a different outlook on death and all of that down here. You know, people take it more as a celebration, or, you know, a passing on, you know, more so than it being something negative.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And here to the south, you know, dead south would be straight to New Mexico, down to Taos right there. So this is the Sangre de Cristo's behind us. West in front of us are the San Juans. Yeah, ride the cosmic highway. The UFO tower. And then over here, we got an alien UFO watchtower open. Alright, here we come. This is it.
Alright. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming at you from the UFO tower yet again. Apologies for previous footage. I'm trying to reaccount for some footage. Not exactly conducive to filmmaking. Coming across the entrance of the UFO watchtower. An unknown alien offers guidance. For some odd reason, there's better filming today and better lighting. Most satisfactory. Hello everyone, we are back. Going to the UFO watchtower again. This place has piqued my interest, and I seek to find more detail about it. Maybe I may find an alien or two today, I don't know.
This is
I find one right here. No. Just kidding. Alright, I'd like to find out more about this alien watchtower. I'd like to know if it's like a valid scientific tower or if it's like kind of like some cliche place. We're turning around. Ponderance of guidance. This unknown vast land. An alien. And there are aliens around here. we're coming upon another entrance here as compared to last time I was here. Here I am back at the UFO watchtower, trying to find out in more detail what actually is going on here. Trying to find places unknown. Okay, keep chronically adjusting the light, shit. Whew. This is my guide. As you can see right here, there seems to be
a shrine.
What do you think?
Some kind of shrine or altar to the aliens? I don't know. It's me.
Offerings? Perhaps?
Pretty weird.
Okay.
You know, one thing is beautiful out here. This is awesome.
Very cool. Okay, as you can see, there is an interesting dish thing. So I am following up on an interview from yesterday. 67 UFO sightings have been reported here.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes. Indeed it has. What do they want with us? Just checking out this place in more detail. Still windy as hell. So this is just like some hotbed. I am actually going in for a closer look. Like this interesting shrine. From what it looks like. Totem poles, shrines. Whatever you would call them. Whatever you would have of them. There's an interesting one right here. What's one to think of this? Possible GI got abducted by aliens? I don't know. Are people asking favors from the graves? Is this some sort of sacred ground? It's a pen pile. Each shrine has its own meaning. Can only be discerned by the person that put it up. Only to be foundries of the curious, but having some possible significance of those that the shrine is kept. Since opening the UFO Watchtower in 2000, over 25 psychics have visited and told the same stories. There are two large vortexes located to the east side of the tower. A vortex is described as an opening to a parallel universe, which is full of energy. One of the vortexes spins clockwise and the other spins counterclockwise. As you walk through the garden, pay attention to your body as you can feel the energy from the vortexes. We encourage visitors to leave something in the garden to get their energy there as well. Please do not move or remove anything in the garden. Bad karma if you do. The last thing the Saki's told us is that there are 2 large beings who protect the entrances to the vortex, but are also there to help. There has been phenomenal results for those who have needed help in their lives. Just ask.
We will be heading to the world famous Mount Dolce, along followed with Ojo Caliente Hot Springs, where many people have had sightings out there. They have a very clear night sky. It sits out in the desert of northwestern New Mexico. Very beautiful place, and that also has some strange energy there. They call it Ojo Caliente, which means hot eye in Spanish, which means for some reason it's a vortex of energy, and they have amazingly, hot water that is super diverse in the kind of minerals and elements that it contains. I know that they have a lithium pool that you can swim in, and a mud bath, and all the works. So,
wow.
Tomorrow should be an exciting day. I am looking forward to it. It's going to be excellent. Fun.
So you seem pretty knowledgeable.
I'm pretty knowledgeable of the Colorado, the Southwest region. I've lived here for the last 18 years. I think we moved here when I was 6, 24 now. So I'm pretty knowledgeable of Colorado and where to go and all the cool spots and the rock climbing and the mountain biking. I know that Ojo Caliente is by far one of the coolest hot springs possibly in the entire country. It's beyond belief. Clear skies, we should be able to get some good footage. So, see what happens. And Crestone, alongside with Manitou Springs, is kind of like a witch capital for, I actually went down to a pagan ceremony on May 1st called Beltane, and it's kind of like a fertility ritual, which I was not informed until I got there. It's quite interesting, to say the least. But there is lots of strange rituals that take place in Crestone. A lot of witchcraft, shamanism, all sorts of things. Very cool, very intriguing.
Anything UFO related or like alien related?
I don't know. I feel like there is just definitely something very unique about this valley. And believe it or not, this is going to sound goofy, but if you look at Crestone from Google Earth, or if you look at the San Luis Valley, it almost looks like a huge vagina. And they say that this is like the birthing point of the Earth. Like this is the center of the Earth, is this valley. Which would make sense, which is kind of odd, but it's really cool. Learn something new every day about this valley, I swear.
So, hello again, everyone. Today I went out touring with a citizen of Crestone, Colorado. His name is Mr. Patrick Campo. Earlier I broadcasted his comments and like what he was going to take me out on in regards to this documentary. A very insightful person. I actually have 2 more days to shoot in Crestone, and he knows the land, so he knows the lay of the land, so that's a plus. Well, I'm hoping to see what we'll find tomorrow. Over now.
Good morning, Patrick Campbell here with you again. We are on our way to Mount Dolce. We are heading down Highway 17 right now, heading southwest. We're going to go down there and see what we can find and see kind of what's going on, see if we can get close to the mountain at all. I do know that I think it has security around it, I'm not quite sure. But while we have the chance over here off to the left, this is the Great Sand Dunes. And some people do believe that the sand dunes may have something to do with the aquifer underneath the San Luis Valley here. That the snow melt comes down, filters itself through the sand, and somehow makes its way to this huge aquifer, which is pretty neat, pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, to conclude the mission, that's it. We're going to stop by Antonito as well. There's a man there who is quite the architect. seems pretty far out, and see if we can go chat with him. So we'll see how that goes. We are reaching the town of Antonino. We're going to investigate this very odd little church or house that this man has built over here and see if we can't score an interview with him. From what I've heard, that he is completely illiterate. He can't read or write, but he is completely brilliant at building, which sounds pretty interesting. And this is where he lives. Right ahead, right here.
Alright, we are coming up on some structure right here. This person has some interesting knowledge to share. More to come, ladies and gentlemen. We've come to a domicile. Somebody who might be teamed is kind of eccentric, I guess. But a person who is said to have interesting insights into the world of the unknown. My guide over there. An interesting house is made from parts unknown.
Alcohol plus tobacco is kills.
An interesting sign.
Is healing.
Ah! Well said. So anyway, we are here in the city of Antonito. My tour guide has notified me that this is an interesting spot. An interesting hub of UFO activity. And also where like some famous places are as well.
Look at this old street.
Well, today we are going off a little bit of the beaten path. I'm just dying to get some like footage of the unknown. Where to go? Hello everyone, this is Jala coming back at you. From what I've been told, I am looking at part of the infamous Mount Dolce Air Base where it is said that many things go on here, including interactions with unknown species alien. A lot of people have come here, but been told that there's been a bunch of tight-lipped security around here. So are they actually hiding something or what? I don't know. This is my last day of filming for my documentary, The Night Gallery of Crestone, Colorado. In all my wisdom of trying to like find footage that I needed, I ended up finding something else. I ended up finding a place with many stories to tell, but just not enough time to do it in. I guarantee you, something is out there. This is an interesting place, nonetheless, and but yeah, it definitely does have a story to tell. But I know in a way I only scratched the surface, and couldn't find that prime footage that I wanted just yet. I'm thinking it's like you never know. You never know.